For 2 days now, the EU Solar Team and 30 Micronesian technicians have been traveling the Pacific Ocean on board the Caroline Voyager. They've taken on an unusual mission: the installation of solar systems on remote islands in the FSM. At a stopover on Sattelwal, locals give them a warm welcome. This island already has solar systems on a small scale. One is privately owned and the other is communal. Its job is to power 2 freezers which the islanders share. But they haven't worked for a while now, and no one can figure out what the problem is. A quick check shows the problem isn't the batteries. Maybe it's the freezers themselves or the switches. Maybe it's even the module. In any case, this is nothing unusual. The solar system here is around 8 years old, and there's no one trained enough to service it.
Well, from the size and from the quality, they could last longer, but the problem is always maintenance. If we don't look into that, if we don't send regular people to the islands, then we will have a problem sooner or later.
The freezers are essential to the islanders' well-being.
The only way we can preserve a little bit of meat for us, you know, the island is bad, Fringing River. We'll preserve it in the refrigerators, in the whatever they're called.
A little technical effort would be of enormous help to this community, which could then store its provisions.
These are the nations that really can be helped without a lot of money, but with a good will and a good motivation, you can really make a difference.
The conversation in the men's house turns to the subject on everyone's mind. Many of FSM's islands are literally threatened with extinction, and everyone's worried. Climate change has long gone from mere theory to acute reality, with all its consequences clearly visible and plainly felt. The coral islands barely rise above the sea. The islanders have no access to most modern amenities. They eat the fish they catch and grow what they can from the relatively barren soil. Their staples are coconuts, breadfruit, bananas, and taro, a root crop similar to the potato. Not much else grows here that's edible, and now the little they subsist on is endangered.
The roots are falling off, getting rotten and falling off the plants.
Climate change is directly responsible for the plant's demise. Seawater levels are rising, and the salt water is soaking into the roots of the taro plant and killing it.
Most people expect the salt water to come from the sides and then fill up the taro patches. No, the salt water have come up from within the taro patches. So we are actually leaving the bad effect of climate change.
The islanders can see the results of a changing climate in more ways than one. Their coastlines are disappearing. The threatening rise in water levels is a stark reality on almost every island.
When did it start? Sometimes ago, but then you notice, you started so long ago and then coming, and all of a sudden you say, hey, missing. This piece of land here no longer exists. It's all gone.
I heard from authorities that it's possible that after maybe 50 years, some of these islands will be submerged. And that means even our high highlands, where some of our roads and houses are, will be also submerged.
High time to act. The changing climate is one of the main motivators behind the Renewable Energy Program in FSM. The EU Solar Team says goodbye for now. Their time schedule is tight and the boat's about to leave. Soon, though, this island should benefit from the REP 5 program. But real change for the better will only happen here if the global community faces today's challenges and finally takes them on.
A lot of people feel disempowered. They wouldn't know what to do about it. But doing it on a small scale, if you look at what you can do at a micro level, and in this case, for me, that is installing solar panels, you can make a difference.
The Federated States of Micronesia agrees. The government has decided to channel all the money made available to it by the 9th European Development Fund into renewables. That decision set the course which ultimately brought the REP5 program into being, executed by the Pacific Island Forum Secretariat. The 5 stands for the 5 participating Pacific Island nations. Alongside the Federated States of Micronesia, they're Nauru, Niue, Palau, and the Republic of the Marshall Islands. They all aim to decrease their dependency on oil and use ecologically responsible and renewable sources of energy. They also hope to send a message to the world at large, in full knowledge that the island nations' only hope for survival is a change of course amongst the industrialized nations.
They want to set an example, but make them in a better position to discuss with the Western world, for them also to reduce their carbon emission.
Team briefing ahead of the next island stopover. FSM country manager Peter Konings works for IT Power, which is leading the management of the REP5 program in the Pacific Island nations, along with the firms TransEnergie and ADEMA. After 2 long years in the planning, the project is finally nearing completion. Peter's aim on this trip is to commission some of the newest solar installations, allowing them to go into operation. The next island is Satawan. Jos and his team of Micronesian technicians erected a solar power plant here 2 months ago. The island's school building got a 6-kilowatt system. Now it all comes down to last-minute fine-tuning and to check that everything works the way it's meant to.
This is the logbook. So we're asking the local operators to write down every day some parameters from the system, and that gives us now a very good opportunity to check what has happened to the system while we were not here.
The data looks good. Peter and Jos slip in a training session for the local operators who will be servicing the system from now on.
The water is now here, just below maximum. This is the minimum. So when you see this going a little bit down, you top it up with distilled water.
So when you go on an inspection, always take all your tools with you and just check if they are still tight. Yeah? You look at the fluid levels, you see how far they've gone down, and you make notes of all that.
54 solar panels will supply the classroom and the dormitories of the boarding school with light. Besides that, they'll also provide everyone with electricity for their radios, TVs, DVDs, laptops, and internet. The pupils will now be able to study in the evenings or listen to music after years of sitting in darkness. An earlier attempt at providing electricity failed dramatically.
It's very difficult to get to bring fuel here. It's very expensive. Yeah? And in fact, they've tried it before here, funnily enough. They had an island power system. You can see the power lines running here. And the system ran for maybe a couple of months, and then it became too expensive. Yeah, so it was unaffordable. And on top of that, that system was only running for about 4 hours every night, from 6 till maybe 10 or 11.
As part of the final inspection, Peter checks all the cable joints. All in all, Peter only finds a few small problems, which are immediately fixed. The installation has been a complete success. That was the second part of our series, Solar in Paradise. In our next episode, you can see for yourself the changes solar power bring to island life and how the locals feel about the solar installation. Stay tuned. Si puoi che sale di